Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's show. So it's officially the second half of the season. We have rolled into the racing month of July, and it's freezing cold. I've already got my jackets on and everything. So what went down this weekend, it was round number 3 of the Farm Jams, a brand new venue. Leon and Rowan and all the team up there at Vans Racing and Farm Jam Management have been breaking themselves in half to find brand new venues. This was spectacular. This was Verena, just out the back door of Broncos Sprates. This was round 3 of their 5-round championship. This was Farm Jam. This Pirelli and Mottl Farm Jam Hair Scramble racing action is proudly brought to you in association with Vans Racing, Stack Ups, SVR Innovations, Vitru Designs, and ANCAT Engineering. After a 2-month break, Farm Jam was back right smack bang in the middle of winter, out there at Verena, a brand new venue for round number 3 of the 2024 championship. And everyone was chomping at the bit, raring to go on this brand new track. So after a 2-month break, we go out to a brand new venue, Verena. Leon, I went out on the track yesterday. Well done, boys. Well done.
Yeah. I think we've put in a lot of work, opening all the new tracks. I think the guys are going to have some fun today, especially the junior loop. I mean, that's amazing for them. The loop that we put out for them is completely different to what they rode at Rubberkloof. It's something different.
As with hair scrambles, very much a second, third gear all day long, and I think you got the formula perfect this time.
Yeah. Look, the terrain allowed us to do that, exactly that. The guys are going to be not flat out, they're not going to be as slow as Rubberk, and there's enough technical spots to keep them busy, so yeah.
Before the morning session, we went down in the pits to chat to a couple of the riders. Ian, you're the king of the 50s at the moment on the Farm Jam, but it seems like you've got some competition today, eh?
Yeah. I'm very excited that there is competition so that I can race.
Tell me, have you walked the start queue? It's quite tech, eh?
Yeah, not very tech, but I saw. It's a bit rocky at the end. Yeah.
You're a little stubby since you moved up to the 65s. Tell me how your season's been going.
It's been going pretty good. It's just that the people are really fast in my class.
Everyone always says it takes like 2 seasons to get right with the 65. You agree?
Yes, it does.
Tell me about, have you gone and walked the little hole shot? What are you thinking?
It looks really wet and tight, so I'm going to try get a hole shot.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. I don't know about how much rocks this is, because seeing the mountains and stuff, I think there's a bunch of rocks. But I usually enjoy the rocks, but I'm happy it's a new venue.
You're good at the high-speed stuff, but you're good at this tech, so I think the Farm Jams is a good fit for you. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling very good. I hope to get 5th place or first. I'm aiming for a whole shot, and I hope it goes through. very good.
Tell me about your season so far. It looked like you're in good shape this year.
Yeah, I had a little bad luck on the Gxccs and the high speed got me a little bit. The suspension wasn't, so I got a little bit of head shake, and yeah, but we fixed it and now it's fine.
But the Farm Jam style of riding, good setup for you.
Yeah, very, very nice, and yeah.
Verena, third round of the championship, and yeah, this should be a good one for you, eh?
Ja, ek hoop so. Ja, ek lê nie te bad op die championships nie, maar ek hoop ek kan vandag 'n wen kry, dit sou baie help.
Tell me about how you feature on these Farm Jams. It's cool to have something that's not flat out, not super tech, it's just right in the middle, eh?
Ja, dis baie lekker. Ek like nogal die tech want ek's bietjie beter daar en die vinnige goed. Daar's party mense daar wat my ver wen. Ja, daar's party vinnige ouens daar, maar die tech, ek like die tech baie. Nou is baie lekker.
Have you got any change on your setup? Obviously, this is the first winter round that we've got, so you guys are going to be going out of the gate pretty early.
Ja, nee, ek het nie eintlik 'n change op my setup nie. Ons gaan dit maar so hou en kyk hoe ek doen en dan later in die jaar sal ons probeer ander goed kyk.
Hey Queen, isn't it nice to go racing first thing in the morning on a winter's morning, eh?
Oh, it's cold today. Winter is not my favorite season, but I think the sun is going to come out and I think we're going to sweat today. The track looks nice, but for now I'm very cold.
Started out the season on the big 350. You're sticking with it?
No, I'm on the 252 stroke today because I saw it's a bit rocky and technical, so I think the 250 will be the better option for today.
Layout of the track looks like it's going to be a little bit old school, second, third gear all day long. Happy with that?
I'm happy. It looks like single track, so I think passing is going to be a bit difficult. So the best thing would be to get a hole shot and just try and stay in front because rocky, loose, second gear all the way.
You go check out the hole shot. It's a short one, eh?
Yes, see, it's very short. It's going to be first gear all the way. No, the track, I walked the start. It looks very small, very tight, so we'll see how it goes.
Cool reactions and great to see everyone so keen to get out there and go racing. The morning session would be made up of the 85 pros and ladies on the big loop and all of our junior categories on the smaller 13-kilometer run. On the gate, everyone locked and loaded and ready to go. Rowan was our flagman as we kicked off with the 85 pros, where Ben van Skalkbeek and the husky of Verena Kleinams got out the gate. They would have a chance to go and set their fastest lap times of the morning. On the ladies' gate, Gnarly Carly got the big hole shot, working that recluse clutch nicely. She would get a nose ahead of Queen Catherine Mostert, the reigning champion, multiple champion of the Farm Jams. But in the early kilometers, she'd be on the wheel of Gnarly until the track opened up. Stall out on the line for B on the Honda, but she would be able to pick up the pace a little bit later on. 65 pros, Declan Richards has now become the king of the hole shots on the 65 pro gate, with little Stubby and John Luke in close attendance as they went out there into the tech zones. 85 juniors, Mullet Man, Liam Skippers, always going to be the kid to beat on this gate. Banging bars up the inside, getting the wheel, getting the clear air. He would be the dude to beat on the morning session. 65 juniors has been awesome this season, with Alonso Ashadina getting his wheel ahead early on. But a mistake just at the end of the whole shot queue sent him back, and he would have to chase his way back through the pack. On the 50cc's, Ian van Rensburg for the SVR Racing Squad. He got his wheel ahead of Janu Potgieter. Those are the riders going after the championship once again on the 50cc gate. With the juniors heading out there and the ladies on the big track, we chat to Leon about what's in store for the morning session. Take us through the junior loop, give us some numbers and some key features.
Yeah, look, junior loop 13Ks. The biggest features, they got 2 chili and ice creams to choose from. Obviously, like I always say, we want to teach them, so they're going to have the choices to make if they want to do the chili or the ice cream, and that's just going to learn them more skills and skills.
That's the whole idea with the Farm Jams, finding different routes, different zones and different venues to up the skill level of the juniors and our lady riders in the morning session. Let's kick things off with our 65cc juniors, where we had 6 of the very best going out there. DC Daniel battled in some of the tech zones, but found the flow in the more open sections, and it really was a 50-50 track for our junior riders. And it held up nicely as well. 13 kilometers, started out tech, opened up, and then went tech again. So fantastic learning experience for the junior riders. Daniel down in number 6 with Devan Olafse. Started to come to life in the Farm Jams. His dad Neil racing in the afternoon, and Devan getting the job done with his best FJ ride in a number 5 spot. Riley Skeepers was a little bit up the road from him in a number 4 position, putting around about 3 minutes into Olofse to get his nose ahead onto the box in a number 4. The fastest kids, as you'd expect, running inside of the top 3. Julian van der Berg working nicely on the Yami to get the job done. Out there on the lead lap as well. Put 4 laps under his belt to run home with some good numbers. And all the juniors came back, said this was a perfect track. They were running in 2nd and 3rd gear most of the day, maybe finding 4th gear every now and again. Little Alonso Achudina, those little legs battling in some of the tech zones, but he did manage to pull his socks up after his mistake off the start line and eventually walked away with a number 2 spot. Eventually down by just under 4 minutes off the back wheel of Connor Tunis. Kids worked well together in the early laps, and eventually Alonso just could not run the pace of Tunes as Connor got his wheel out and ran the numbers all the way through the day. Managed to make some solid passes to get through on a lot of the junior traffic up the road from him. But the style of the kid is really cool. Very confident, lets the wheels spin through the tech zones, taking the win in the junior 65s. Good numbers on the page in the 85cc juniors, where Nathan DeVette broke his way into a top 6, one of his best rides on the FJ Tour so far. Gustav van Kirk, a little bit more measured in his approach, but also did stay on a 4-lap count. It was interesting to see the stats with just the top 2 riders going on the 5-lap racing count, 3 riders on a 4-lap count, and the rest of the riders only being able to run a 3-lap racing number. Van Kirk on a number 5 ride with 4 laps under his belt. Erbert Goosen, one of the taller riders out there, thought he might be able to run a little bit higher up on the scales, but I think power to weight ratio holding him back at the moment. Andre Skeepers, he had the perfect setup on his machine to get himself up there into a number 3 spot. 1 or 2 little mistakes coming into the tech zone that just ran next to the river, close to the pits, but it didn't hold him back too much, and he was still able to walk away with a number 3 ride. Wilco de Ploy, in his first full season of racing in the 85cc category, still a little bit small in the leg, so really made up a lot of time in the fast open sections, and good enough in the tech zones to stay on the lead lap and still walk away with a number 2 spot. But he was put down by around about 8 minutes off the back wheel of Mullet Man, Liam Skeepers. The gravel pit racer got his nose ahead coming off the gate and never looked back. Dominating lap records all the way through the morning session, with a full race time of 2 hours and 7 minutes to stand on the top step once again. In the 85cc juniors, he is all dominant this season.
It was very rocky and all the places were so much rocks. The rocks was heavy and the dust wasn't that bad, but I didn't catch so many people. But yeah, it's very nice. This is an awesome venue. Thank you to Farm Jam and thank you to Gravel Pit, Maximum, Heimo, and my dad and my mom and my brother and my sister.
Ja, het was lekker vast. Het was lekker. Ja.
Excellent. You coming back to the next one?
Ja.
Excellent. Well done for coming second.
Thank you.
And thank you, Wilco. Here's our introduction of confirmation of our junior categories. Mullet Man Liam Skeepers gets the job done in the 85 juniors, beating out Deploy, Skeepers, Goosen and Van Kirk. In the 65cc juniors, Tunes gets the job done ahead of Ashadina van der Berg, Skeepers, Olofse and Daniel. That is definitely a championship to watch out for, as it's just building up the heat with 2 rounds to go. 50cc's, Janu Potgieter and Ian van Rensburg, 1 lap counted. Preston and Paxton, unfortunately not finishing their first racing lap. That's our junior categories, and we move forward into our pro, junior and lady gates from the morning session. 65cc pros, even though he got the big hole shot, Declan Richards on lap number 2 suffering a big crash and having to retire from the race. So that's going to hurt him in his championship standings as we go forward into round number 4 in just under a month's time at the classic race venue of Sgt. Pepper's. Lo Lombard up the road and takes one of his best ever rides of the Farm Jam Tour. 3 spot for him and 4 laps under his belt. Zack Attack Stubbs starting to really find that confidence that you need to go forward and run with the big dogs. His best Farm Jam to date since moving out of the 50cc's onto the stacked 65 pros. Zack Attack Stubbs into a number 2 spot. and not too far off the back wheel of a multiple champion. John-Luc van der Westhuizen didn't get the cheese on the whole shot, but he has been working on his tech riding, and it showed, dancing the Vans Racing Husqvarna to a big number 1 spot at round number 3 of the series. JL is back. 85cc pros would be out there on the big course, so there'd be a little bit of an extended track for them, mostly in the flatland and the open felt property sections across the other side of the road. Johan Smit would break his way inside of the top 6, beating out on Ruan Roth and Caleb van der Westhuizen down to a 7 and 8 for those dudes. Dylan Besadenhout, great to see him out there on the Megs Racing squad. Walks away with a 5th place and is starting to grow in his confidence as well, enjoying his time on the bars. In the early days of the race, he was joined with Ben van Schalkwyk and Joubert van Niekerk. Joubert eventually walking away with the number 4 ride. Not a bad day at the office for the Roost Racing KTM star. Ben van Schalkwyk, modest rider, very gentle rider off the bike, but he does come to life when he gets his hands on the handlebars. By his own admission, in the early season fast races, not finding the setup on the bike, but here at Farm Jam, found the sweet spot into a number 3. 3 laps on the count for him on the big course, meaning only the big kids went out there and stayed on the lead lap of 4. Derek van Aspergen working hard this season, certainly found a gap in his training last year to find the tech zones, and Van Aspergen was on point once again, 2nd place. But the technical zones is where Werner Kleinams really comes to life, and he was able to hammer a 5-minute lead come the end of the race. Both Kleinams and Van Aspergen on the lead lap, but it was Kleinams that saw the checkers. In the ladies, great to see some new blood out there, and a pleasure to welcome Moshe Bester onto the gate. Her first ever race and her first ever Farm Jam, and she did a good job. She got 2 laps under her belt, and she'll be with us on the line for the next event as well. 1 lap up the road and 1 position up the road was Carla Breitenbach, Yami rider, with a deft touch. Those long legs definitely helping her out through some of the technical zones, and she enjoyed her time as the lead Yami. Bianca Edwards, even though she stalled out off the line and had a few little mistakes along the way, she said the big Honda was a bit of a handful, but she also has developed. At the previous round of the Farm Jams, she was a green class rider, meaning she was just out there on the junior loop. This time around, she went out onto the big course and got a lot of experience and kilometers under her belt. Gnarly Carly Simon got the job done into a number 2 spot. She had the nose ahead of Queen Catherine in the early kilometers, and as soon as Queen checked out, she was gone. But Carly did a really good run, getting 3 laps under her belt. But Catherine Mostert put her down by 1 lap, and the Queen was on fire for ANCAT Racing once again, switching machinery, deciding, because it was a more tech zone, to go with the 250 Smoker, her roof racing machine, and the Queen was back on top at round number 3. In from that race, not the greatest start, but you made the pass pretty early.
Yeah, the start wasn't good, so I was hoping for a whole shot because the start was very tight. But then I think about a K in, I made a pass and I just kept it there. I kept strong, and yeah, I came home with the win.
Yeah, give me a breakdown of the track. It was 50-50, I'd say.
Yeah, it was really nice. The first section was a bit rocky, so I really enjoyed it after not riding rocks in quite a long time. And then the sweepy sections, I really enjoyed that. The grass section was quite bumpy, so it kept you on your toes, but it was very good.
Tell me about the hands. The hands took a bit of a pounding today, eh?
Hands always takes a pound, especially on this terrain, but we'll be strong and we'll carry on.
Be a track where at the beginning you didn't like it, but at the end I think you kind of warmed up to this one.
Yeah, no, it was definitely the first lap. I took my time, fell everywhere, but after the second lap it was nice and smooth, getting the hang of the rocks. It was fun.
Opened up at the back there in the grassland. That's where you can kind of stretch the legs on the Honda, but in the tech, yeah, it's busy, eh?
Yeah, no, the tech of the Honda, the 4-strokes, they like to stall a lot, so it made it a bit difficult, but otherwise it was fun though. It made it enjoyable, to give it a bit of a challenge. Yeah.
Shout out to the guys laying out a brand new track. I mean, big effort gone in here again.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's nice to have different tracks, different venues. It just brings the sport. It makes it so much more fun, like different new things to do.
Yeah, it was very lekker. I enjoyed it very much. We had a dice in the beginning, but I didn't get the best start, but I managed to get through everyone and just have a lekker race, but it was tight and I liked it. Thanks, JL. Thanks for the good sign-off there.
Into our pro confirmation categories for the morning session. Queen Catherine Mostert on the top step once again ahead of Gnarly Carly, who's starting to join us along the way in the Farm Jam Tour as we round the second half of the season. Pro 85s, Verena Kleinham's hammers a nail on Van Asverken and Van Skalkvik. And then in the 65 pros, John-Luc van der Westhuizen, JL beating out on Zack Attack Stubbs, Lombard and Declan Richards. Commiserations for the crash early on lap number 2. This Pirelli and Mottl Farm Jam Hare Scramble racing action is proudly brought to you in association with Vans Racing, Stack Ups, SVR Innovations, V2 Designs, and ANCAT Engineering. That's the morning session done and dusted. We get ourselves ready for the big action from the afternoon event. First, down to the pits.
Yeah, man, unfortunately missed the first few rounds, man, just between work commitments and some other races. So, yeah, we haven't had a lot of saddle time, so it's going to be interesting. Put a hand into the S1 Pro class just to get in front of the rest of the dust for the beginning bit. And, yeah, looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun. Farm Jam is always excellent. The guys put together such a lacquer course, yeah. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a good day out.
Dead right. Here we go. On to the pro gates to kick things off. S1 Pros will take the first flag raise of the afternoon session. With the stacked fields, everyone wanted the cheese. And Kochi on the big 450 was elbows out, smack bang in the middle. It wasn't to be a Cinderella start though. Kochi stalling out the big girl, and he would be last out of the gate with the Devastator on the Vans Racing Husky, first to get the cheese. Noah Martin's got the elbows out nice and lacquer for the S2 Pros. Him and Curvis Bester banging bars off the gate. The S3 Pro category. With the stacked field, it was Michael Strick that went down, but he'd be able to plow his way through the field to try and regain some of those positions. For the seniors, the winner of the Cannonball event last year, Tyron Skitter, missing out on round number 1, but he would pick himself up. Yanni Potgieter would have to also dust off a little bit of early roost to come from the back of the pack. For the Masters, the old guard, banging and firing hard. Wayne Farmer making a big name for himself in the last couple of seasons on the Farm Jams. Himself and Kirky going out and going hard. S1 Amateurs, the big guy, still sore and anar from racing in the Impies. The previous weekend, Foster Clerk, he got the cheese. The rest of the amateur categories would go out and fill up on the track. Junior Oosthuizen banging hard up the inside there off his gate. And then the Grandmasters, Trailer Park Girl. Hugh Stassen tries to go around the outside and loops it out in spectacular fashion, leaving the rest of his age group to get the job done. The novice gates were our biggest categories of the afternoon send-out, where we took over 200 riders out into the big course. A little bit later down the queue, it was exciting to see everyone figure out the short whole shot send-out queue, but also we turned our attention to the greenies, who would be going out there onto the junior course for the afternoon session. The Green Riders, something that is being brought in by the Farm Jam crew this season to give riders a taste of what's out there on the course. Leon takes us through it.
And then talk about the big loop. Obviously, that's the big one. It's going to take a little bit longer, but nice and raceable, I thought.
Yeah. Like open for the ladies in junior 85s in the morning. They're not going to struggle on that loop. That's just to put in the kilometers. On their loop, there's also a chili and ice cream that's going to make break or make people. That's it.
I had the pleasure of running the track the day before, and I can tell you right now, it was spot on. A little bit tech in the early part, but it opened up nicely. And then you came back across the bridge a couple of times. Fantastic racing. For the Green Riders, they would take on the course that the juniors ran in the morning session, just to give them a 13-kilometer loop and a taste of what Farm Jam is all about. A lot of the course was common route, meaning they shared it with the pros that they'd find a little bit later on, when the big pinners started to come through traffic. Aubrey de Villiers was a number 6. Natalie Van Sale on one of the smaller machines. The little Honda, she was out there running a number 5 position. Logan Alves getting jammed up a little bit on some of the smaller rocks. Able to finish with a number 4 ride with Eric Naylor, nailing down a number 3 finish. The majority of the riders on the greenies were able to tag 3 laps under their belt. That gives them plenty of experience going forward into the rest of the tour. The whole idea, like I say, with the greens is to give riders an idea of what Farm Jam and the terrain that we race at Farm Jam is all about, without the big long loops. Naylor, good enough to nail down 3 laps and a 3rd place position. Butch Eckhout, the big guy on the 45 machine, 2nd place for him. Junior Eckhout would be racing in some of the pro categories. We'll pick up on him a little bit later on. No, you don't hate rocks. The rocks hate you. Eckhout in 2nd place, but it was Louis Lowe that rock and rolled his machine up to a number 1 position. A nice day in the saddle for the guy that's just figuring out how to get the best out of himself. Into the novice categories, the S3 novice always giving us some huge numbers. Once again delivering one of the biggest gates of the afternoon session. Colin Nienaber screaming his yammy up to a number 6 ride with MJ Van Aert on the WR. The 4-strokes battling a little bit in the tech zones, but the 4-strokes really came to life in the 2nd half of the course on the scrub and grasslands where things opened up. Estienne Kutzer made a tactical decision to take the goggles off early on. Don't know if it was the right one to do. It did dust up a little bit out there, but Kutzer was still good enough to walk away with a number 4 ride. Milan van Niekerk ahead of him into a number 3 spot, staying on the lead lap. In fact, all of the S3 novices getting 4 laps under their belts, showing how close this category really is. Dion Jacobs took the number 11 machine up to a number 2 spot, just missing out by a minute and a half to eventual race winner, Paltzer. Jacobs is coming to life though. Certainly got a good setup on himself and his machine, but it was Paltzer who dominated the gate. Learning the lessons of hare scramble racing, getting the whole shot, getting the cheese, getting fuel strategy right as well. Fuel strategy definitely came into play at this round of the series, where riders were very surprised at how much fuel they were using out there on the course. In the S2 novice category, Sean van Rensburg, SVR main dude, coming back from injury at the early part of the season, and with not much seat time, dropped down to a number 6, but still made it onto the show. Still got his name on the box as well. Martin Els was ahead of him with 4 laps under his belt, and the first of the 4-lap massive, breaking their way into the top 5. Francois Dutoy ahead of him onto a number 4 spot, dancing his machine through and enjoying the tech zones in particular. You'll hear me in the show talk about 50-50 a lot. This truly was a 50-50 track, where we see Gerard Nel battling and bouncing his way through the rocks. Some people were faster in the tech, some people faster in the flatlands. But most riders never saw the top end of 3rd gear, meaning that the average speed was relatively low and a nice safe track handed out to all the riders. Nel in the 3 spot, HJ Duplessis took his machine up to 2nd place, and Neil Olofse, who's on a bit of a burner at the moment on the SVR racing squad. Also a little bit sore and anar after last weekend's MP, but Olofse gets his name on the top step for the first time this season. The S1 novice, the bigger bikes out there, bigger bikes, especially the 4-strokes, battled on the tech zones, but as I said before, they were able to stretch their legs a little bit more in the flatlands. Franco Barnard into a number 6 with Helgard Rubenheimer, a guy that's been supporting Farm Jam since the very beginning. So he's been on the gate for something like 11 years now. Just getting beaten out by Chad Eckhout. A lot of father and son names you'll see spread across our categories. Chad, very much a rounded rider, knows how to get the best out of himself on all of the tech and open terrain. Beat out on the day by around about 4.5 minutes by Dion Smit, who squeaked his way into a number 3 spot. And George Carathanassis up there into a number 2 spot on the 101, rocking the David Knight race number, showing some David Knight speed and skills out there. He narrowly missed out on the win on the S1 novice gate. He got beaten out by a former champion. We haven't said the name or seen the kid for a long time. Jason Lightfoot came back and got the win after 6 months off the saddle. Great to have J Dog back on the top step, beating out on Carathanassis. Smitty, Eckhout, and Rubenheimer. Barnard takes us to a top 6 in the big banger gate on the S1 Novice. S2s, Neil Olofser for SVR Racing gets the cheese and hammers the competition. Duplessis, Nell, DeToy, Els, and Van Rensburg, the top 6. On the S3 Novice, Ethan Peltzer, best of the rest, but it was very tight. You check out the lap times. These guys were all over each other. Jacobs, Van Kirk, Kutzer, Van Aert, and Nienobber, the top 6. On the mean greenies, it was Lowe getting the job done ahead of Eckhout, Naylor, Els, Van Sale, De Villiers, Van Veek, and Miles. Great to have so many greenies with us. Let's drop a gear and start moving up the categories as we plow forward into the rest of the racing gates. Next up, our amateur categories. Slightly faster lap times as we build the pace, heading through the amateurs into the age groups and ending off on the pro categories. Tian Hinnis getting the job done there into a number 6, beating out on Ian Minar and Camden Geier. Junior Oosthuizen, after almost eating it hard off the whole shot queue, did eventually go down out on the track and had to run cannonball a lot of the day, dropping down to a number 5. But good to see Junior figuring things out on the Farm Jam Tour, one of our junior champions from a couple of seasons back. Hansi van der Berg was up the road from him, tagging in number 4 ride with Ron Opperman. Love watching Ron Opperman ride. Nice and aggressive, always attacking style of riding. Wasn't too far off a top 2 finish. Only missed out on the top 2 positions by around about 2.5 minutes. So Opperman on the money. Rickers Annandale chose the 4-stroke this time around, taking his machine to a 2nd place. You'll hear a lot of the 4-strokes stalling and what we call flaming out on the tech zones. You've got to keep those wheels turning. You've got to keep some revs high. It's all about gear selection. No issues for the VW Mastercars Pro of Drickus van der Merwe, who sailed his machine up to a high finish, taking another win on the FJs. S2 amateurs, where you'll see once again the pace get very close and the lap times all over each other. The top 6 riders only ever separated by less than 6, maybe 7 minutes overall. Gerard van Gruning, number 7, Martin Els, number 6, and Ruan van der Merwe into a number 5. Van der Merwe, the first of the riders, breaking his way into a top 4 lap on the counter. Only one rider on this gate, staying on the pro lead lap. That's 5 laps, showing how fast some of these amateurs really can be. Van der Merwe in a number 5. Ben Vessels looked very comfortable as the track opened up for him. He walked away with a 4th finish. One of his highest rides of the season so far by my count. Ryan Fraser tippy-toeing nicely to get the job done into a number 3 spot. Happy with the terrain, happy with the setup. Talk about the track for a second. It literally was a 50-50 track. Half of it was tech zone, working your way through rocks, but the rocks were all super rideable. Nothing bigger than a basketball. And again, Leon and Rowan trying to develop all of the riders across the junior and the senior categories so people are a little bit more comfortable to run some momentum through the tech zones. Seems to be the theme of the Farm Jams this season. We found different and brand new venues at almost every single round. Moving up the road into the big bangers for the S1 amateurs. Great to see Davy Daniel getting the job done up there into a number 6 ride, just beating out on Stephen Wright, with Jan Goosen into a number 5. Just visibly out there on the show and also out there when we were watching on the day. You can see the riders that are just a little bit more adept at the rock zones, but the rocks were never longer than maybe 2 or 3 minutes. After that, the track opened up nicely and some of the flatland specialists were able to come to life. Scott Breitenbach was up there into a number 4 with Bronson Engelbrecht, his standard attacking riding style, taking his gas machine up to a number 3 spot. Watch out for Engelbrecht at the end of the season. He's a championship player, brings home points in every single round. Pierre Pins took the big Yami up the road into a number 2 finish. He'll be happy with that. That was all set up by a really strong gate and a good fueling strategy. The Yami man into a number 2 spot, but he was the last of the riders on a 4-lap count. The original Viking, Frans de Klerk, got the job done, got his whole shot, got the cheese, ran the numbers, and even though he was a bit weary from the weekend before riding, he took 5 laps under the belt and another big win. Big France on the top step once again. Here's confirmation of our amateur categories, with the Big Viking taking the win ahead of Piens. Engelbrecht, rock solid as always, in the number 3 spot on the 300, ahead of Breitenbach, Goosen, Daniel and Wright. In the S2 amateurs, Warren Shapira got it done ahead of Bert Moe. Fantastic riding for those guys. Shapira also stayed on a big 5-lap count. Fraser, Vessels and Van der Merwe took us to the minor placings. And the S3 amateurs, Drickers Van der Merwe, 5 laps for him, hammering on Annandale, Opperman, Van der Berg and Oosthuizen. Next up, our age group category races, covering the seniors, masters, and the grandmasters. Let's kick things out with the old man of the mountains, the grandmasters, where Ian Smith, father of Ruan Smith, brings out the old dog, the WR. And he enjoyed his time out there for sure, certainly figuring out how the FJs go. A former champion on the Masters Gate, Oosthuizen on the Subaru racing machine, recovered down to a number 5. But he couldn't climb any higher than that. Evan Hull, he's improving every single time we go out there. Walks away with his highest finish, even with a couple of fallovers. A number 4 ride coming in for Hull. Pierre Kutzer, 3rd place ride for him. And look at the times as well. Very, very tight on the numbers. Kutzer, Whitehouse and Edwards never separated by more than 4 minutes out there on the course. Gary Whitehouse, a couple of little fallovers, dinged up the old chicken wing. Got a sore shoulder after this one. But great to see Gary out there representing the king of the classics, walking away with the number 2 spot. But our absolute pleasure to announce Conrad Edwards taking his first ever FJ win at round number 3 of the season. The Beta rider, dominating, getting the best of Gary and some very tasty riders off the queue to stand on the tippy top step. The seniors, made up of a lot of ex-pro racers as well. Zach Attack de Silva, part-time racer by his own admission this season, came in just to swing a leg and walked away with a number 6 ride. Didn't even break a sweat. Manny Ferreira was up the road from him on the 5-lap scorecard, taking a number 5 finish. Happy with his day in the saddle with a perfect 3 hours on the seat. Greg Hodgkin, one of the main dudes from the Lowveld area, more adept at more of the technical riding, so he was one of the fastest dudes out there on the chilly sections, but lost a little bit of time on the flatlands, only able to recover to a number 4 finish on the day. King Carl was back swinging hard, 3rd place for the VW Mastercars Hatfield racer, who is racing literally everything under the sun in the 2024 championship. 3rd place ride for him, and the fatigue from the previous weekend's Impy event was definitely not in attendance. Carl, DJ Milan and Tyron Skitter separated by less than a minute and a half come the end of the race, showing how tight the senior race truly was. Carl in 3rd place, DJ Milan in 2nd, and the king of Cannonball was back and banging at round number 3 of the season this time around. For the Raceworks KTM squad, Tyron Skitter back on the top step at round number 3 of the season. In the Masters category, fun to see who was going to be able to break this one out. Stephen Kutzer, little fall over in the tech zones and 2 laps under his belt. He'll be happy enough with that one. 4th place ride and only 2 laps scored for Kirky, a former champion. A collapsed bearing in his headstock, forcing the rider to retire. Literally could not turn the bars. He had to retire the machine. Very rare mechanical for Kirky at round number 3 of the season. That moved Derek Hardy up into a number 3 spot, gives him his highest ever finish on the FJ Tour, with Pierre Smith, captain consistency on the old Yami, bringing home the bacon every single time. Stayed on the lead lap as well, but on the timing scorecard, had to take a bit of a bath. 10 minutes off the back wheel of eventual race winner. Insane Wayne Farmer was on the money once again. Got the whole shot, got the cheese, got clear air. Surprised so many people with his pace through the tech zones this season. Farmer on the top step once again for the Bikers Warehouse Husky squad. Wayne, it's a Saturday. What else would we be doing?
Oh, dude, this is so awesome to be back. And to be back racing after my accident and everything and come to an awesome loop like this. We had to work the whole day today. Body's a little bit stiff right now, but oh, what an awesome day out, eh?
You think I was right with like kind of old school feel to this track?
Yeah, for sure. You know, there was nothing really too technical, which is nice. Everything was just in your face, you know, left, right. There's nothing like overboard. Even the peri-peris, it's doable for everybody. And what an awesome event. Really, really it is.
When you got into the lappers, this track got a bit skinny, eh?
Yeah, very, very skinny. And some of the guys get a bit of a fright when you're behind them, and just bide your time. But you get past them eventually, and it's the same for everybody. So we have to just be a bit patient, and we're all racing and having a good fun right out there, and we have to treat them with respect as well.
Happy with the team results today?
Yeah, pretty cool. I must be honest, eh? They did really, really well, so I can't complain, eh? Don't worry about this, though.
Brother, since we rolled out this brand new gate, the Grand Masters, it's been a bit of a story this year. You seem to have gelled perfectly.
Oh, fantastic. I tell you, every time I get on the bike, I come off with a smile, the routes are nice, the track's good, everything fantastic. And it's just, I think we all fit in the same pace. We're all old riders and we have fun, great fun.
There's a few guys on your gate that used to be rocking and rolling in the Masters gate as well, so there's definitely some pace there.
You tell me about it. I ride in the dust half the time, but yes, absolutely fantastic. And like I say, it's nice riding with guys who all know what they're doing. You don't have guys that maybe knock you off. Very good, very good.
In the morning session, does B come back with a little bit of spies and tricks for you?
She mentioned just to me, you'll be able to do all the chilies, take the chilies, yes. But yeah, the rest all, as she mentioned, just very nice flowing track.
Ev, lining up on the Grand Masters gate this year, tell me how you feel about this Farm Jam series.
It's awesome, and having our own category. We've got a race against Gary Whitehouse and our Conrad over here, it's Race Snake. But yeah, it's awesome.
Tell me about the layout of the track today. It was busy, eh?
Very busy. It seemed to be oaks passing and dust and that, but the quarter dust and 3/4 lacquer. It was nice pulling into the corner of the back brake and pulling out of the corner in the correct gear. And then you're really sweet.
Dude, tell me about the rest of the season. Obviously, it's a short season for the Farm Jams, but you seem to be putting in a little bit of extra work nowadays.
Yeah, no, we're riding De Wilt. We at a good point at the moment. So I think, the 4 laps is doable. So you can only try and do better next time. Maybe a 5th.
Listen to Ev. Get those miles in on the weekend, and the results do come. Confirmation of the Masters win going to Farmer ahead of Smitty. Hardy, his best ride of the season. Kirky, a low ride in 4th, just ahead of Kurtzer. Tyron Skidder, the king of Cannonball, is back banging hard with the win at round number 3, beating out on Milan and Detroit, but that was a close race. Hodgkin down in at number 4, just ahead of Ferreira. And in the Grand Masters, a new winner on the tour. Cool to see Conrad Edwards get it ahead of Big Gary Whitehouse. Kurtzer, Howell, Stassen, and Smitty take us to the top 6. Next up, where do we go? All the way to the top. It's time for the pro categories. S3 Pros, very close conditions out here as we see the riders trying to understand how to get the best out of themselves. Derek van Asveken stepping up onto the big bike. Obviously, this is a move that we're going to be looking forward to for next season. Sean Katsavis was ahead of him on a number 5 finish. Raymond Language had some problems on the day, dropping down to 7th, and Luke Riley into a number 8. Katsavis strong off the gate though, but eventually dropping down to a number 5. Fueling strategy definitely coming into play with our pro category races. Dieter de Vet, one of the big guys out there on the S3 Pros, starting to become a very rounded rider on the EMD QCon racing squad. 4th place is a very respectable position to come home against this incredible gate, which made up of a lot of young crazy kids. Justin Romp, one of the Pro 85 racers and champions from a couple of seasons back, making a name for himself as he moves up into the S3 Pros. How's it, Justy? Ahead of him, coming all the way across the border from Zambia, Michael Struick. Even though he tucked it and went down, he was able to pick himself up and make a lot of passes through laps 1 and 2 to recover to an eventual number 2 spot. Just not enough time to get onto the back wheel of eventual race winner though, up the road from him. Struick did a very nice fight back ride to only miss out on the eventual category win by just over a minute and 30 seconds. Ryan Peltzer was on form. In fact, on the last lap, he was looking odds on to take the overall on the day, but a freak mechanical, in fact, electrical problem on his machine took that away from him, but he was still fast enough and able to recover to get his category win in the S3 Pros. Peltzer is on a burner this season. S2 Pro category, cool to see Xander King, more of a flatland specialist, get the Yami out. Starting to work on his technique as well, and that's what the guys are using FJ for, to work on their more technical riding technique, but it's tech with flow, which you don't find at any other tour in South African racing at the moment. Tyron Peltzer had some problems, couldn't get any higher than 7th. King was up the road from him in 6th with Vernon Nordia. Berries up the road to a number 5 with Gav Young. Another big improvement on the season, as Young is trying to chase down a top 3 in the season. Andrew Mostert, the king of the mullets, was out there into a number 3 ride. The ANCAT Racing Pro Racer, his best FJ results of the season, up to a top 3. No moderns, 1 or 2 crashes. Maybe a little bit too aggressive for this style of riding, but he was smashing the big Yamaha up and out on the track. Best he could do was number 2 ride, but it showed that he is a very rounded rider, making the trip up from the KZN Midlands. Kobus Bester took the big 350 4-stroke out there. I think he knows that he would have rather have been on a slightly lighter machine, but Bester hammered his way through, took 3rd in the overalls and 1st in category. S1 Pros, normally out there racing in the senior age group category, but Kochi, out of the championship this season, decided to line up with the pros and took the big girl out to eat. That means he was on the YZ450F, dicing his way with the younger riders, but happy to get that big seat time in. Aldo Lowe was up the road from him. He was on the Sherco 3 Honey, 5th place. Should see him running inside the top 5 for the championship as well, as he seems to have committed to the Farm Jam Tour in 2024. Highest placed Sherco rider out there. Ruan Smith, the former multiple Pro S1 champion on the Farm Jam gate, starting to find that flow and that form once again. 4th place, probably his best ride of the season so far. Looks like the ANCAT Racer is building up now. John Buerta, 3rd place, doesn't show how close he was to the actual win. He was dicing for the win the whole way through the race until literally kilometers, not even a kilometer, from the finish, where he ran out of gas. So fueling strategy came to bite Big John. Still good enough to get a 3rd place finish on the day, and that'll keep him in the championship hunt. His teammate though on the Bikers Warehouse Husky squad, Ruben Pieters, got his best ever FJ finish, 2nd place. Also not far off the win, just under 2 minutes of eventual race winner, the Devastator. Devin Smith has focused his riding style completely on the hare scramble format of FJs. Aggressive, fun to watch, but still with enough flow to find the cheese. Gentleman out there making clean passes on the lappers, and he saw the checkers once again to be champ of FJ round 3.
Dev, I see you looking over your shoulder there. Obviously you knew the boys were on you.
Yeah, there's a last lap. I heard John Buerta is 10 seconds behind me. So I just keep it steady with my bike and smooth. And I know this guy is on my ass the whole time, but yeah, I'm really good to get 1st place.
It's a nice 50-50 track, eh?
Yeah, it's not too thick, it's not too fast. A lot of dust at the 3rd lap. Yeah, got a lot of dust, but it's a fun track here by Verena.
Just at the back here, just before you came into the finish, it got a little bit tight there, eh?
Yeah, yes, it got very tight, and mud, yeah, it went deep. And the rocks were slippery and everything. Yeah.
After I ran this track yesterday, I knew the big smokers were going to run good. Obviously, 300 is perfect.
Yeah, 300 was perfect. Like, it was so nice and turny, and then you got some fast sections, but through the rocks, the 300 would just like glide over it, and then it's sand corners. So you just like pop through the corners. It's so fun.
The 300's running out front. It looked like you had a big jaw.
Yesterday, it was a proper joy. From lap 1, I had like not so good of a start. And I caught John Buerta by like 2nd lap, so then I was running with 3rd. And then I was running after him the whole time, and it looks like 2Ks get back just after the bridge. He ran out of petrol. So I finished and I just came back, but it was a brilliant race.
Hey Jono, a bit of a rough situation there. What went down?
Yeah, I was chasing down Devin. I was on his rear end and ran out of fuel. I had to push my way down here. I don't know if I'm going to get a penalty for getting fuel, but yeah. At least I'm safe. Thank you to Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for keeping us safe, and yeah, if I got that win, it would have been for Mikey, but yeah, it was a good day.
Coach Delicious, tell me the story.
It was a lot of fun, eh? Probably the wrong 450 wasn't quite the buck for the track today, but still awesome, man. It was super tech, super tough. Had to really dig deep to get through that one, but yeah, great to be back on the bike, great to be back at a Farm Jam. I mean, they always lay it on thick here. It was everything that you wanted and more, in your face, super fun, and yeah, look, just glad to be at the finish safe and sound and all good and healthy. So
I saw you dicing with a couple of the pros out there, having fun with the lighties.
Yeah, no, look, it's you can definitely see that age definitely takes its toll on you. Those youngsters are just way more nimble, they're just way more faster. As much as you try and hold on to them, eventually your tongue's hanging out, and it was tough, but yeah, it was still super duper fun. Nice to actually be out in the front for a change with a lot less dust. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. It made for a different bit of racing, and yeah, definitely in for the next one.
A word to Leon and Rowan finding us new venues the whole time?
Look, I mean, I'm sorry, Rowan and Leon, for going faster over the bridge 3 times. I know, I'm sorry. But yeah, no, I mean, for this venue, I mean, absolutely fantastic and just well done. I mean, Farm Jam, Leon, Melissa, Rowan, all of them, they just do such a stellar job. Super safe, well marked, can't have more fun with your clothes on.
Bester, that was a good push and a nice 50-50 track. Definitely the 250s worked well there.
Yeah, I think it was more a 300 track because the tight sections, the 350 stalled, so next time I think I'll take a 300.
You seem to get better as the track was wearing in there. Did it get a little bit wider, easier to run?
Just got more comfortable on the bike and found the groove.
Andrew coming in for round number 3 of the Farm Jams. Tell me how the track was for you.
Die baan was baie lekker, was heel wat moeilik geweest, maar ek het deurgedruk. Ek weet nie hoeveel sterk is nie, maar ons sal maar nou sien.
You've been burning laps doing motocross. Does that help with your intensity for these kind of races?
Dit help vreeslik baie, ja, veral in die draaie. Ek kan voel ek word baie vinniger. Ja.
Shout out to the family looking after you in the pits.
Ja, dankie vir almal wat my help, my support. Waardeer dit baie.
Hey Ryan, everyone's got a story to tell today, eh?
Yeah, I was doing really well, and now on the last lap I stalled my bike in the corner, hit the starter button, and nothing happened. So I started stripping my bike looking for what's going on, and I found a wire. Little wire's broken off, but this is awesome, eh? This is why I ride a dirt bike. Today's track was so much fun, and I'm definitely coming back.
Confirmation of our pro results with the devastator Devon Smith taking the win, but it was close. Peters and Berta were on him all day long. Smitty finding his form once again in 4th place ahead of Lowe. Kobus Bester walked away with a 3rd overall in the day and a big win in the S2 Pro category ahead of a solid ride from the Yami on Martins, and Mostert, young in 4th place, keeps that championship alive. Ryan Peltzer, fantastic dominance on his gate, just beating out on Michael Struik, Rom, DeVet and Katsivas. The championships have just come to life as we leave round number 3. Get ready for round number 4 in just under a month's time on the 27th of July as we head to Sergeant Pepper's in Balmoral, the classic race venue, which will host our penultimate round of the championship. This Pirelli and Mottl Farm Jam Hair Scramble racing action is proudly brought to you in association with Vans Racing, Stack Ups, SVR Innovations, Vitru Designs, and ANCAT Engineering. Okay, so now we have broken into the second half of the season, like we say. That was round number 3. That was right in the middle of the Farm Jam 5-round championship. We get ourselves ready to go forward into the racing month of July, where we've got the next round of the Gxccs. This is coming up this weekend. It's going to be a banger as well. A new venue also. It's going to be in the area of Lehandra. So that's just around the corner from Secunda. We have raced in Secunda in the past, but it's been a couple of seasons, maybe 5 years back. So get those entries in. Me and the boys will be out there, and then we'll go into edit for that. And then we roll forward into the end of the month. That's going to be round number 4 of the Farm Jams. That's also going to be a classic race venue of Sergeant Pepper's. Cannot wait to get out there. So get the entries in for this weekend. We'll see you guys on the line for the Gxccs, and then start getting yourselves ready for a classic, absolute banger of a race. It'll be the penultimate round of the FJs out at Sergeant Pepper's. Get the entries in. Wow, it's going to be a busy July. It's going to be awesome. Keep wrapped up, keep warm, and stay Hollywood. We'll see you guys on the line.